Hi there, I'm Larissa from ELCUS, which stands for English Resource Lab, keeping it simple. Tell me, does the apostrophe cause you catastrophe? It does for some people when they write. Now, we're going to have a look at 3 particular expressions in English that some writers may get confused with, and they are, number 1, the do's and don'ts. The do's and don'ts of writing. The second expression we often have, or we often use, is making sure your P's and Q's are accurate when you write. And thirdly, we have another expression in English, make sure you cross your T's and dot your I's. How do we actually write these 3 particular expressions? Well, that's what we're going to have a look at in this quick video. So if this is something that interests you, definitely keep watching. Now, interestingly, all these 3 expressions, the do's and don'ts, the P's and Q's, and crossing your T's and dotting your I's, all relate to behaviour. Having a good eye for detail, focusing in on the detail. So they all share the same meaning. Let's start off with looking at the first expression, do's and don'ts. Now, how do we write this? And when we use do's and don'ts, this is the sort of expression that you'd use in your casual writing. So if you're writing blogs, maybe newsletters at work, magazine articles, casual expressions, then we would use the do's and don'ts. We try to avoid using this expression in formal writing. Do we write it like this? Number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Well, if you said number 1, number 3, and number 4 are correct, bingo, you're right. They are correct. We can write them in any of these 3 ways. We avoid the use of number 2. And the reason we don't write it as it's written in number 2 is because don't is the contraction of do not. We never remove the apostrophe from don't. Now, P's and Q's also mean the same sort of thing. It's to do with manners. Are we focused on the details? So, here are 2 ways in which we write it. Do we write it number 1 or number 2? Well, the answer is you can say both. They're both perfectly acceptable for the same reasons as the do's and don'ts. If you want to use uppercase, that's fine, depending on what you're writing. And also, the second version is correct. Here are 3 ways in which we can write it. Which one is correct for you? Number 1, number 2, or number 3? If you said 1 and 3 are correct, bingo, good. Number 2, we try to avoid. And the reason is that it does cause confusion. TS and IS, not really clear. Number 1 and number 3 are the preferred options. Susan wants to learn the do's and don'ts of good writing. Henry made sure he crossed all the T's and dotted the I's before handing in his essay. We had to watch our P's and Q's at Grandma's house this evening. So if you've just learnt these 3 expressions, that's fantastic. We never use the apostrophe for plurals, ever. Now, if you enjoyed this video, then definitely hit subscribe now and the bell, because I'm putting out a range of new videos this year. Thanks for watching. I'm Larissa. Bye for now.